Is Josh recording for Watchmen episode 1.
Got a little ahead of myself, I guess. Hey, Hey, Josh. What are you
Tessa,
doing?
just looking at porn. What are you doing?
Also looking at porn. I want to be funny too.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So, as previously discussed, I think I have a little bit of a cold. I took some NyQuil last night.
No. How are you
Yeah,
feeling today?
it hit me like a fucking hammer. And so I alternately feel like fine, maybe sick, like maybe hungover from NyQuil, and then fine again. So I've got everything going on.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even NyQuil, it's like store brand.
Of course. Who buys brand name medicine? That's stupid. I
Wait,
also
is there anything that you absolutely will not buy except for the name brand version of?
I know there is, and I feel like no, I was gonna say mayonnaise, but no, not even mayonnaise. I don't give a fuck. Save
Anderson.
me like 10 cents. I'm there.
I often think the store brand thing is the same or better, whatever.
Mhm.
Q-tips.
Oh,
I
you are
won't buy I
correct.
won't buy anything other than that one brand.
I got,
So thanks to
mm,
our sponsors, Q-tips, the
thank
only
you.
brand I'll use.
No cotton swabs for me, those assholes.
Yeah, I
They're
think they
bendy
tell you
little.
not to put them in your ears, which I don't know what you'd use them for otherwise.
Yeah, no, you can do that with Q-tips though, just not cotton swabs.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're great.
Wait, what does that say?
Oh,
Rubber City Comedy Fest?
yeah.
Where's Rubber City?
Uh, Cincinnati.
Is that was that like a hub for rubber production?
I believe it was at some point,
Okay.
yes. Oh my God, my glasses.
What's going on, spectacles?
You know what? I've
That's
been
what we're gonna
wearing.
call you from now on, you four-eyed
No!
nerd.
No!
Yeah, but you're also like our computer hacker expert. Don't worry, spectacles will take care of it.
I'll enhance it. Ink. Yeah, I've been wearing my contacts for like way too long, and then I started wearing glasses again, and I'm not used to it, and I hate it, and they keep falling down.
Yeah, I got as men of a certain age and women of a certain age also. I got progressive lenses my
Mm-mm.
last time, and I have not adjusted to them.
I hate them. I
Yeah.
have like, I hate them so much. I have two pairs of progressives, and I hate them so much that I got a pair of just straight up bifocals. Not better.
Hmm.
All sucks. I hate them so much.
I I need to learn how I need to one learn how to use them better, and two, I need to just get better ones that have like really precisely measured focal lengths. This is okay. We should just get into the show. Want to start
What?
clapping?
No, let's talk more about glasses. This is
Okay.
fascinating for everybody, especially
My
when we get into the details.
my
Mhm.
frames were made by my friend who designs eyewear.
That's super fun.
Yeah, they're
Ma-
like prototypes that were never made,
Whoa. Pretty
or
much, yeah.
yeah, maybe they were, some version of them was, I'm sure, made by like 20 people. Because here's the thing, like you
Yeah.
have designers that make a billion different designs, and then all the fashion houses and the cheap knockoffs are like, we'll take this one and put our name on it, and that one and that one, and
Yes.
they're all made by the same people, and they're all manufactured in the same factories, and whether you
Yes.
pay 10 cents or $10 million, you
Get the same thing.
well, I mean, whatever. Like, I understand that like people want a very specific look because it's like you have to wear the same shirt every day. Like,
Right.
You would pick the thing. But like the idea that you get what you pay for is absolutely a myth. It's like it's a style choice, and it's also a story that you're telling yourself in the world.
I have about, I'd say, 30 pairs of glasses because I get them all online and I don't pay more than $50 for each pair.
And that's why you're called spectacles.
That's right. That's why they call me Four Eyes.
You're in charge of the evil terrorist organization Spectacles.
That's right.
You're the leader named Spectacles.
Mm-hmm.
And the organization is also just called Spectacles.
Yeah, because we are a spectacle, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, let's clap it in!
Let's do it! Woo!
Ah!
What's up, guys? It's On Fire Tonight with Josh and Tressa.
I'm Tressa.
I'm Josh, and we are going to talk about a show called The Watchmen. So buckle up. If you haven't seen it already, watch it, because we're going to spoil it. You watched it, you came back, here you are. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. We should just like set this up a little bit. This is the HBO show Watchmen, which is an adaptation remix of sorts based on the original comic by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. So that is this is not about the movie The Watchmen, and there are some minor and major aspects within the movie and comic that vary, and we might touch on those from time to time to give a little bit of background for what's going on in the show. The show itself is a great standalone thing. You don't need to have read the comic. You don't need to have that background info, but it will greatly enhance your enjoyment of it. So for what it's worth, if you haven't read the comic and you're about to watch the show, I would say go for it. Like dive in with both feet.
You guys, you got Josh's permission. That means go for it. You know what? I'm just here for moral support because I don't know shit about this show, this franchise, this movie, this comic book, but I enjoyed everything I've seen, which is nothing. I saw the movie yesterday and I watched the first episode of the series yesterday, and that is all.
Okay, so just sort of like as a little foregrounding, and I don't want to like waste too much time because like I think this will bore our audience. Just some minor ways to understand the TV show as coming out of the comic book in a different way than if you only had the movie to go by. In the movie, the spoilers, the big thing that Ozymandias, aka Adrian Veidt, his big plot is to frame Dr. Manhattan for like exploding New York City. What they do in the comic, which is different, is he gathers up a bunch of different brilliant minds. There's like a comic writer. There are a bunch of scientists and stuff. He takes them to his like Fortress of Solitude type place in Antarctica or wherever.
Oh, right.
And he creates, because he's like the smartest man and also the richest man, he, with their help, creates a giant squid monster that he drops on New York City, which like blasts psychic energy, and so it kills like millions of people and destroys like half of New York City all at once through a combination of being a giant squid that seems to be from outer space or transdimensional, and with its psychic waves. The idea there, which is I think similar to the movie if I remember correctly, when the comic book was written in the 80s, we were at like the height of the Cold War. Everyone was like extremely stressed out about dying in a nuclear
Mm.
war. And, like the 2 minutes to midnight clock or whatever. Like, that's like the clock theme of the Watchmen is throughout the comic as well as the movie as well as the show. There's also like this recurring circle theme. There's also right behind us this circular smiley face from the comedian with the bloodstain. Anyway, there's a lot of circles, there's a lot of clocks, there's a lot of watches. And so, okay, so the big thing is the squid difference. That's like a major thing. And then just tonally, the movie portrays all of the superheroes as super and kick ass, and it's like an action-y type thing. In the comic, these are all human frailty characters. None of them have superpowers except for Dr. Manhattan, who is the only exception. Rorschach is portrayed as just as insane in both, but like a little bit. I mean, it's different. Like, he's not a cruel butcher the way he is, perhaps in the movie.
Wait, so well,
And also like you, there's a lot, but I don't want to like bog us down.
yeah, no, but still, I have questions now.
Yeah, please.
Um,
And by the way, it's been a little while since I've revisited this, so
sure,
apologies if I don't have the answers.
Yeah, you can write in to Josh, tell him he's a dumbass
Yeah.
at dumbass@gmail.com. So nobody else, like not even Vite or whatever his name is, he doesn't have superpowers in the comic?
No, he doesn't. No one else has superpowers in the comic. What they have are like at best is like the best of a human's abilities.
Okay.
And in some cases, like, just normal human abilities, not like even better than most. So all of the like extreme sort of actiony sequences in that movie
Yeah.
are very far afield from the feel, tone, and everything of the comic. And like, here's the thing, I don't want to rain anyone that's like checking us out and thinks that I'm like just shitting on the movie. That's not what I'm here for. Please, by all means, enjoy it. We're talking about a different thing. This TV show that we're discussing comes out of the comic, not the movie. And so there could be confusion based on where you're coming from.
And for the record, I know everyone hates the movie that knows the comic. I know everybody knows that. It's fine. I didn't hate it, but I don't know anything about the comic. So, and I love to learn, Josh. Also,
Well,
yes.
what are the chances that you would read the comic?
Read.
It's got a lot of pictures.
Oh, pictures. I don't know. How much is it? It sounds like a lot.
You mean time investment?
I mean, just is it like a Bible? Like how many pages are we talking?
I mean, they reprinted it as a graphic novel. It was only 12 issues.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
So, I mean, whatever. Like, no pressure. I'm just going to quickly touch on some aspects. I don't know. I keep saying I'm going to quickly say something and then I blah, blah, blah a whole bunch. Anyway, there's stuff that's outside of the main story in the comic book that like would never make it to the movie, but aspects of it are sort of woven into the show a little bit here and there. There is a comic within the comic, which is a pirate story.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and since we're Smoldering Pirates and we're doing pirate radio right here and now.
That's right.
Obviously, we love that. There are ads and interviews with like Adrian Veidt and stuff like that, like printed in like partial form. It's like you'll see a page sort of askew. and then there'll be like ads for products in the world of the comic.
Nice.
And oh shit, there's like a bunch of other stuff. And all of it adds to the storyline in ways that like if you just disregarded them and like skipped that page, you just like you wouldn't like miss out on the big story, but like you'd be like, oh shit, oh my god, like tie in, holy shit. um
Nice.
yeah, so it's pretty awesome in that way. One of the things, like for example, Adrian Veidt, who is like both he is very athletic, but also he's a super smart guy in like almost every field imaginable, and he's also like an entrepreneur who's like manipulated markets in the media in order to like be extra rich. So like aspects of, I might be misremembering a little bit, but so in the version of the sort of parallel universe that this takes place in, where Dr. Manhattan is real and Nixon in the comic book is elected to a third term, and Vietnam like eventually like not only gets conquered by like this massive Dr. Manhattan, but also like becomes a state of the United States.
Right.
Uh, uh, um, okay, so like I believe in the comic, Dr. Manhattan had like created some advanced technology to take us away from fossil fuels. So like there's like synthetic lithium batteries and everything's running on batteries, except that like there's also fear that like he or his products were giving people cancer, which may or may not also have been true
Right.
on top of it. And then shit, there's some other aspect. So Adrian Veidt had been like marketing like heavy nostalgia stuff, including a perfume called Nostalgia.
Good.
But because it was like the mid 80s, he was pivoting everything, thinking that like because the millennium was coming up, everyone would be into like futurism.
Uh-huh.
And so like he's pivoting all of his stuff from like nostalgia to futurism. But like in the world of the show, that turns out to have been a terrible bet, because like people are like incredibly technophobic
Oh.
as a result of like a combination of Dr. Manhattan stuff and a combination of like there's like been an interdimensional attack by a giant squid that took out New York City.
Yeah.
So
And that's part of the comic or the show or both?
that is that is a progression from the comic that we see in the show. So like that doesn't really play out in the comic, because the comic ends
Oh, right.
with a giant squid in New York City, and also like so Rorschach gets killed for the same reason, that he won't promise to keep his mouth shut about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So Adrian Veidt has already done either the squid or the other Dr. Manhattan fake attack.
Yeah.
In both versions, and in both versions the character of Rorschach is like, his moral code makes him refuse to just keep a lid on it for like for the greater good. Like, you know, you've got different sort of it's so postmodern, it's metatextual, you know, like it's a comic book about comic books, and it's about comic book heroes with different codes, and like what is the greater good, and what even is good. So like, yeah, so Rorschach gets killed in both, and in both he has, if I'm remembering the movie correctly, he had a journal that he dropped off at like a tabloid newspaper that just needed to fill some space, and like you see the kid pick up the slush pile, like, hey, what's in here? Maybe there's something I can use. Cut to the show, which takes place 30 plus years later in that world where Rorschach's journal has been published and has had a profound effect. Not the one he personally might have intended.
Well, or I don't know because I've only seen one episode. But so that's why these basic Nazis are making him a martyr. Like,
yeah. So in the comic book, Rorschach is like a legitimate crazy person, lunatic who like he stands on street corners saying like the end is coming with a sign, the end is nigh. And like we see that guy throughout the movie and don't even realize that's Rorschach the whole time. Or like we see
that's
or
fun.
it's only like at the end of the comic do you realize, unless you are smarter than I am, and most people I think were. I think a lot of people put it together before I did. Oh, wait a minute, that guy's that guy. So yeah, so I don't remember if that character is racist.
Well,
I think that he was just like a fucking crazy person.
Well, okay, here's the thing though. He kept like mumbling about liberals or like lefty, something like that. Like he's very much vocal about how he doesn't like the left because that meant communism in the 80s. And I can see where if he was vocal about that in his journal and that got printed, how he would be like a martyr to some Nazis. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. And I think that there's like I don't know when it came out, but there's like a celebrated novel called like The Turner Diaries. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Shit.
I have no idea.
This like white supremacists love this like story of like it's some real bullshit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Long story short is his journal gets published. People take from it what they want. So either they believe or don't believe that the cataclysmic event was real, and or they think there's like an elitist cabal, and or just whatever it is that white supremacists think that like that tells them that they are being robbed of something that they deserve and yada yada yada. I'm not really sure, like, because it often doesn't hold up to the scrutiny of the light of day.
Weird.
Yeah, that is weird. So and then I think that might be, now that we've like talked for 4 hours,
Sure.
enough background to start the episode.
Guys, welcome in. We're talking about the first episode of Watchmen. Just so you know, we're gonna spoil everything. Whatever we say at the beginning of the show every time. I'm Tressa, this is Josh. Let's do this.
Yeah. So Watchmen, episode 1. It's summer and we're running out of ice.
You know what? After watching the movie, the beginning of this episode was a lot.
Right. Yeah.
I was not ready for that at all. It took me by surprise. It fucking broke me for a little bit, and I had to take a break. All right.
That's
Next.
fair. That's fair. So like, okay, so right, you watch the movie, which has a ton of extremely glib action.
Yeah.
Like people getting like brutally hurt for, I don't know, what feels like 7 hours.
Yeah,
and
but
then
you don't give a shit.
And then there's like a cataclysmic explosion at the end where in the form of the comic, you don't actually see much violence play out throughout the entire 12 issue series, but the violence at the end really lands because it's big, and even though it's like a cartoonish monster, by design, like you're actually seeing like a real a whole lot more gore. So then cut to the beginning of Watchmen the series that opens on 1921 Tulsa race massacre.
The Black Wall Street massacre.
Yeah, the which is a true event that happened just 100 years ago. And our main we focus on a kid watching a silent film of Bass Reeves, the Black Marshal of Oklahoma. Yeah. And so here we have a film within a film.
Yeah.
You've got a hooded character who at first is taken for the criminal, but then it's revealed that he is the black lawman who has captured the white sheriff who was indeed the cattle rustler that's been terrorizing the town.
Yeah, and that's how it starts. I'm like, all right, this is going to be fun.
Totally. The townspeople are like, let's string him up. And he's like, there'll be no lynching here today. Trust in the law.
Yay.
And the kid in the only audience member at the Dreamland Theater is like, trust in the law. He loves it. And
the most fun.
So there's a horrific firefight going on outside the theater. And
there's explosions.
Yeah.
The roof starts to cave in. A man runs in. He's got a gun. He gives it to the woman who is playing the piano. It's a family.
Yeah, we learned that like the woman playing the piano for the silent film is the mom. The guy that rushes in a soldier's uniform. There's a black family, young black family with a young kid. They take the kid in their arms. They are walking out into the street where it is fucking bedlam. It's
chaos. It's destruction. It's death. It's the worst of everything you could imagine out of people.
You hear sirens. There are bombs dropping. You see like white guys with guns like dancing in the street while they're killing black people. Like there's at least one person in a Klan robe but like no mask. People throwing Molotov cocktails into black-owned businesses. It's a fucking horror show.
Yeah, 100%. The family are able to duck into a garage. I guess that was the plan because they're like, we don't have room. We told you we don't have room. And the man says, just take the boy.
And he scribbles out a note and stuffs it in the kid's pocket. And he tells the kid to be strong. And they say, we'll be right behind you. Stuff the kid into like a trunk that's loaded onto the car. And the kid's like, as the car drives off, there are bullet holes whizzing through the trunk. And he peeks out. One of the most horrifying images in the entire thing. There's a car dragging.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's horrifying. It's horrifying.
Jesus Christ. It's so important, and I don't want to ever have to watch that ever again.
Yeah, so, I mean, here's the thing. It's like that movie that you watched preceding this that's like got a lot of important background information story-wise. It takes such a exploitative look at violence. Like violence is like something that the movie revels in.
Yeah.
This show, certainly in this scene, which is all, by the way, sepia tone, and it looks, I think.
Everything was brown. I don't know if it was actually sepia tone, though.
Maybe just the silent film was sepia, and I've just decided that the whole scene, I don't know. Anyway.
It's oldie times, so
it is oldie times, but also none of this violence is played for anything other than, this is something horrible you're looking at.
A goddamn horror show.
Yeah. Horrible to look at, impossible to look away.
Mm-hmm. He watches as an airplane flies over and it drops an explosive onto the garage that he just left that his parents were in.
Yeah. He wakes up at night in a field. The car that he's in is overturned and crashed. He's alive but thrown from the car, and he finds the only other person alive was a crying baby, also thrown from the car. You see there's fire in the background, just the whole city of Tulsa, it looks like, in the distance is on fire.
The entire horizon is just on fire. And he has to figure it out.
Also he reads the note that was stuffed in his pocket.
Yeah, he does.
Watch over this boy.
Nobody did that.
Well, maybe he's got to do it.
Nobody could, yeah.
But yeah. But again, the theme of the watch is literally watch.
Yeah.
You got the Watchmen. Anyway, whatever. The baby that he finds also like wrapped in a blanket that looks a lot like it could be an American flag.
It was a quilt that had American flag aspects to it for sure.
Right, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 1921.
Modern day. Oh, title card.
Yeah, we see a title card. We see behind him the title of the episode, which is "It's Summer and we're running out of ice." He walks away, and now it's modern times. The street that he's walked down dissolves into a modern day street. There's a white dude in a pickup truck listening to rap who gets pulled over by a cop.
You know, I was just thinking about, like, I was driving home this morning thinking about the beginning of this episode, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to start crying, and it's going to be bad. So I'm glad we got over that. So this guy's getting pulled over.
Well, hold on a second. Do you want to, like, dig in? Do you want to, like...
No, I don't, because
it
was, like, fucking horrific. And it's like, we covered the fact that it was fucking horrific. And the fact that it's true makes it even fucking worse. And it was just...
Oh, and that's just one instance.
Exactly. It's just like... Fuck. Dude. Fuck. It was so much. It was 7 minutes long. I checked because I was like... The title card came up. I was like, cool. Awesome. This is fucking great. I can't do this. And, yeah, it was a lot. Anyway. Thanks, guys.
All right, so I'd just like to apologize to our black listeners for those white tears.
Hey! You know what, Josh?
No, listen, I think... Please, I'm not making fun of you. I think that it's undeniable that history and the truth will break your heart every fucking time. And if it doesn't move you to tears, you're not human.
God damn, it fucking sucks.
It does suck, but here's the thing. This is not a show that is solely about... Well, first of all, it takes place in a fictitious world. It's a world that is akin to ours with some divergent aspects. It is not a humorless show. There are like outright funny parts to it, and there are dramatic and even action-y releases. And I think that for every horrible thing in the world, I think that when you can like shine a light in these ways, like you can make real changes. And so first of all, by like telling some aspect of the story of Black Wall Street, that's real important work. Second, humanizing characters for good or ill is real work. And then I don't even know where I was going with this.
Yeah, that's fine. I did, because I don't know why, but I had to because I knew that it was Black Wall Street when I saw Tulsa 1921. So I was like, I need to go back and get more information about this because I have a terrible memory. And so I read a whole fucking article about it, and it was just as bad as I remember. And then I saw that at some point, I think in somewhere in the 2000s, they were like, oh yeah, it did happen. Sorry. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It happened. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Here's $50, you guys. Here's some reparations. It's fine. If you want to go to college for a semester or whatever, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I am glad that I read that because it did talk about giving reparations that seemed like total bullshit, but it added a little bit of information to this story. Can we just go on now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we could spend forever talking about horrible race crimes in our own country. That does sound fun. But this is supposed to be
goofy fun times.
A fun look at a fun show.
Yeah.
And let's give it our best. Let's put our best foot forward. So this dude gets pulled over by a cop. There's a very bright light in his face. The cop's like, what do you got in your truck? He's like, I'm hauling lettuce. Do you mind if I take a look back there? And the driver pulled over, says, can I take a look at your face? And he says, what did you say? And then we see for the first time that the cop has a mask over his face. And this is made pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. This came out in the fall of 2019.
Did it? I thought it came out in the spring of 2020. But no,
I don't. This is fall of 2019, so it's completely pre-pandemic. So shot, whatever, like a year or more before that, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
And so many aspects of wearing a mask as either a hero or a villain, or what it means in this post Watchmen world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so the guy opens a glove compartment. We see something in the glove compartment. The cop goes back and radios in. Unfortunately, back at HQ is Panda.
Ah, fucking Panda, dude.
Oh, fuck. Is there anybody else? Oh, no, Panda. So the cop radios in, okay, I pulled somebody over. He's got cavalry contraband. I saw a Rorschach mask. I need consent. Oh, this is another thing. As he approached the vehicle before this, he asked for consent to be filmed.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So there's an aspect of just things have gone in a different direction than they have in our world, where cops ask for consent to film the public. Anyway, he's radioing in to the base he needs firearm release issued from back there, and Panda's releasing, and it doesn't work the first time, and then it finally gets released.
He's giving him codes and rules, and he's like, just fucking give me the fucking gun.
Right.
And he can't, and then he does, and he finally gets it out. Unfortunately,
it's just a hair too late.
He's just sprayed with gunfire from the driver of the truck.
Yeah, who then leaves him but throws a head of lettuce in.
Yeah. And the driver's got a Rorschach mask on.
Right. Not a moving Rorschach mask. So in the original, the
Yep.
Rorschach material came from something that I shit. Now I forget if it was Dr. Manhattan. I think it was an Ozymandias invention. Maybe it was a Dr. Manhattan invention. Anyway, whatever. The original mask came out of one of the other characters' creations.
But what was the purpose of it? Why was it an ever moving Rorschach test mask?
Oh, I mean, I think that when it was originally put out, it was literally just like fashion. It was like a piece of it was like
Oh,
hyper colors. Like instead of changing colors, like it
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
constantly blobbed out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd wear
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Hmm. Now we're at a we're at Black, Oklahoma.
Right, we're seeing a production, a stage production. We've got a play within a show.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to call it Black, Oklahoma though.
Yeah,
Um,
we are told sort of humorously, you can't say that. So wait a second, are you familiar with Oklahoma the play?
uh,
Because I'm not.
oh, the, the only thing I know about Oklahoma was uh the one like titular song that my a friend of ours would always sing. That, mhm.
Oklahoma, that one.
Yep,
Okay,
that's all I know.
so unfortunately, aspects of that show are woven throughout this episode that
Uh,
neither of us are like astute enough to know what the fuck.
yeah.
Anywhoosies, we see in the audience Sonny Crockett himself, Don
That's a crazy
Johnson.
crossover.
Yeah, so he's been promoted.
Hmm.
Right, Don Johnson plays Judd Crawford. He's the chief of police. And a masked cop whispers to him in the audience, and he gets up and he goes to the hospital. He gets into uniform. He tells Tim Blake Nelson, who's there. His character is Looking Glass.
Hmm.
I don't know if we hear the name or if we just hear the initials LG in this episode.
I don't know. I saw it in the closed captioning. That's the only reason I know.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, so it's interesting, like some of the cops have like superhero gear, like they've taken their masking to a higher level and sort of have personas around it, and some of them are just beat cops
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
little,
it seemed like there's
with
beat
minor
cops
masks.
that get like whatever face mask, surgical, whatever. And then there's like the detectives or whatever higher ups, they get to choose what they get to be.
That
Including
it,
fucking Panda.
it's a little bit unclear to me if that's like a hierarchy thing or just like a stylistic choice that you get to do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I mean it just seems like I don't know hierarchy bullshit for cops, but it just seems like all beat cops wear the same mask.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. And so, except the only cop that does not wear a mask is Don Johnson.
Right.
He's in full uniform with no mask. He's the chief of police. He's got to make public statements, et cetera, et cetera. But like,
Everyone already knows who he is, so it's fine.
I guess.
Well, because he asks, is his name Wade? He asks, "Did you run background checks on everyone, nurses, staff,
Right.
everyone
Right.
who saw the cop's face?"
Right. We
Because-
will learn. So we'll just spill the beans here. Like, it is incumbent upon the police, at least in Tulsa, if not elsewhere, to hide their identities because earlier in this timeline, there was an event called the White Night in which members of the 7th Cavalry, which we will explore in greater detail as a white supremacist organization, like went to the homes of all the cops and tried to kill them.
Yeah. And it's now against the rules to even let people know you're a cop.
Right. So in order to be a cop, it's sort of like you're in sort of a hybrid territory where in the original Watchmen you have like self-appointed vigilantes who wear masks. Now you have regular cops who are like quasi masked heroes themselves or something.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, Captain Crawford, Judd, goes and talks to the wife of Officer Sutton, the guy who's in the hospital, and explains the shooting. And he's there to like make sure that like could he or you have told anyone about his identity? No, he keeps up pretenses. He tells everyone that he's going to night school. And he generally comforts her, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sonny Crockett still being Sonny Crockett.
Right.
And he's
What a charming guy. That guy is so
those
charismatic.
loafers and
T-shirts,
the
blazers,
blazers,
no socks,
pushed up sleeves, and he's
and
like,
yet all of that still charismatic.
absolutely. And they come up, or he comes up with a story. If anyone asks, he got jumped on his way home from night school.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons he's there, not just comfort.
Right. To establish a cover story that
Right.
everybody, like, that she can tell and also they can put out to the press or whatever.
Right.
We see a very quick clip of Dr. Manhattan on Mars on a TV screen.
Yeah.
And we're in a new scene. So I don't know if that was I don't know if that was on the TV at the house or in the hospital or at
Oh yeah, I don't know where that was.
or if that's in the school that we now go to.
Yeah, I don't know. But now we're in a classroom.
Right. Regina King, who plays Angela
she's so
Abar, and then AKA Sister Knight is her alter ego.
Yeah.
She's giving a baking lesson.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
So fun.
She explains that you've got to separate the whites.
That's
That's what she says.
I know. I didn't even think about that till you said it just now.
She's got she's putting egg whites and yolks into bowls, and you see a smiley face in the yolks, and there's a tiny spot of blood. Yeah.
See, I was taking notes. I didn't even catch most of this.
And it's like it's perfect circle also just on
Yes.
screen because you see it from below.
Yes, in the bowl, the glass bowl. And she has everyone go back to their desks and has their little baked good that she explains she used to have all the time as a child growing up in Vietnam.
Yeah.
She was born there just a couple years before it became a state.
She was a police officer in Saigon, and then she moved to Tulsa, and she was a cop, and then there was the White Knight when people came and tried to kill her, and she goes into a lot of detail about getting shot, and the teacher sort of clears her throat, and she's like, so anyway. Oh, and also, I don't know if you noticed this, behind her, in the classroom, there's a detail of a poster that just says 4 important presidents: Washington, Lincoln, Nixon, Redford.
Okay, see, I didn't catch the Redford thing until much later because in the audio description, Sister Knight is going to a trailer park and there's graffiti that says fuck Redford, but the audio description was fuck Robert Redford, and it, out of context, was the funniest, best graffiti I've ever heard.
Well, okay, so but right before that happens, we're still in the scene in the classroom.
Yes. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Go.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we have a little taste of that also, because she explains. So anyway, I quit being a cop and I opened a bakery because I thought it would be a lot safer. And this like asshole kid asks her, "Did you pay for it with Redfordations?" And
Oh my
then
God, I thought he was just an idiot and pronouncing it wrong.
no, Redfordations in the right. So here's the thing. It's like in this world, Richard Nixon was president for like a dozen years or something because they threw out term limits or something. And then
Yeah.
after that, instead of Ronald Reagan, you've got Robert Redford, who wins, and instead of being the Reagan conservative, he's the like Hollywood liberal version. And so you've got all these disaffected white supremacists angry at whatever the policies of this president that they disagree with. So Redfordations clearly is a thing that exists in that world, but not in our world.
That, oh boy, what a great detail that I totally friggin' missed.
Well, so then there's a quick conversation in the car,
Yeah.
right? Like, so she's driving Topher home. That's her white son, Topher,
Who tackles this kid?
who tackles this
'Cause-
kid like he's taking no shit.
Right.
He's like, that kid's a racist. And she's like, no, but he's on his way.
Yeah.
And then there's like air raid sirens. And they pull over.
Everyone pulls over.
Everyone pulls over. This is a common occurrence.
Yeah, you could tell it's a common occurrence. People know what to do. People that are walking kind of freak out and run for cover. The sky turns dark, and it just starts to pour tiny squids from the sky.
Yeah. So it rains super fucking hard. It's like, you know, if it were real storm, it would be blackout conditions.
Yeah. Impossible
And
to drive through.
they disintegrate soon after. Like, once it's over, like they basically just dissolve to nothingness.
Yeah.
So for people who've only seen the movie, this is a thing from the comic. This is not, it doesn't exist in the comic, but this echoes
Right.
the squid attack.
Right.
The massive squid attack. This is the ongoing threat of transdimensional squid attacks.
God damn.
Right. Fun, right?
So fun.
Also, like, I didn't already know that cover of Three Little Birds that they were listening to, like, in the car.
I did not pay attention. I did not know.
It's like a cover of the Bob Marley song, but it's like children singing. It's great. It was really nice.
Kids Bop version? Ooh.
Maybe. I don't know. Wait, doesn't Kids Bop rewrite the songs also?
Yeah.
I think
Sometimes.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know enough to say. Anyway, Angela Abar and Topher get home.
The American flag is weird. They've got it on there. I
Yeah.
assume it's the American flag.
Yeah.
It's like all stripes with a circle in the middle, with the stars instead of in the corner in a
Yeah.
square.
Well, you
It's
got
fun.
at least one new state, right?
Oh, that's right.
So you got to change up the flag.
That's right.
New
Who else
design.
do we get with all the wars? Anyway. Uh,
Well, because the Cold War immediately cools and Russia and the United States, or the Soviet Union and the United States, become friends. There's like a whole different cultural milieu. We meet a character called Red Scare, who's like,
he's great. I love
yeah,
him.
he would be like a bad guy
Uh-huh.
in an 80s movie, except he's
Everybody-
our ally because the Cold War has been over for decades now, because everyone's been united against interdimensional squids.
Hooray.
Yeah. So anyway, Angela Abar and Topher get home. Her husband Cal and their daughter, whose name I didn't catch,
I don't remember.
who's also a white kid. Both parents are black. Both kids are white. They're clearing off the street. There's like a street sweeper that's driving by at the same time. All of this is like commonplace. It's just part of the normal world. The pager's been going off. This is another thing. So like, there's no cell phones in this world, but they have like this big clunky pager with a screen.
The best part, like the pager's so great and fun, but the fact that it's not even a sleek pager is even better.
Totally.
And I love a universe where there's no cell phones because it makes everything that much harder to get done. And like, because the cell phone changed everything
Yeah,
with
you can't really have a horror movie with cell phones.
right. You
It's
just like make a call, you're
can
fine.
you pick me up?
I don't feel safe. Please come get me.
Also, just like
Movie
I can
over.
get an Uber and a pizza at the same time. Like, I think it's going to be
Right.
okay.
Exactly. So love this. So she's like, "Oh, I gotta go to the bakery. Okay, real quick, can you pick up Rosie? I think it's Rosie. I'll
Is
be
that
back
the kid's
later."
name?
The
Okay.
one that he has to go pick up. I think I don't remember. She goes to the bakery. Hasn't been opened yet, though.
Right. So we see on the way to the bakery,
Hmm.
there's a blimp and also a
Oh
bus
yeah.
advertising American Hero Story about the
Yeah.
Minutemen. So
Oh, and
blimps are a thing in this world and also in the comic, and like because like the technological divergence and technophobia that
yeah.
like came later on, so there's just like, you know, you have electric buses and you have blimps, and the biggest show, so like because the comic is a comic about comics, this is a show that is also exploring like superhero shows and like stuff, and there's also just the simultaneously weaving in a little bit of the history of the world.
Yes, which is so fun. As she's walking to the bakery,
There's a mural of Black Wall Street and the
yes,
Dreamland Theater.
and also in the foreground, she's in the background. Someone is holding a newspaper, and the headline reads, "Vite officially declared dead."
Yeah, that doesn't sound
Neat.
good for Vite. So Vite is Adrian Vite, aka Ozymandias,
Mm,
officially declared dead.
that's right. She gets to her bakery. She's
By the
unlocking.
way, it's called Milk and Hanoi.
Ah,
It's a great name.
nice. Yeah, it is. She's unlocking the door, and some guy's like, "Hey, when are you gonna open? What's going on with that
Yeah, by the way,
store?"
that person
Uh-huh.
is Louis Gossett Jr., and he was also the person holding the newspaper reading about
Oh, I didn't realize
Adrian
that.
Veidt. Yeah,
didn't
so
realize
like we see it in his hand.
Okay. She's like, "Yeah, 2 months. I don't know. Don't worry about it."
He's like, I can wait.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, do you think I can lift 200 pounds?
No.
She says, sure. She doesn't say no. She says, sure.
No, I'm saying no.
You don't think that wheelchair-bound Louis Gossett Jr.,
Mm-mm. If I can't, he can't.
you know, believe in yourself.
So she's like, "Whatever, weirdo."
Right. She
Closes,
goes
locks
inside
the
the
door.
bakery.
It's fucking empty. She has no plans on opening that anytime soon.
Well, there's like an extra level to get in. After she unlocks the door, she has to do like a key code thing that lets
Right,
her
at-
further in.
At the back of the store, though, right?
Oh, maybe that's right.
Yeah. And then she goes down some stairs, and it's like a fucking bat cave or whatever.
Totally. This is no bakery. This is full on Bat Cave.
So fun.
She gears up
Yep.
in classic Batcave fashion.
Yep. 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 She's got a mask, a hood, a rosary, eye makeup.
Yeah,
She,
this is
trench coat.
right. So she's got her like the upper half of her face is painted black, kind of like Pris in Blade Runner, and she's got a mask on and this like badass like leather trench coat thing, and she just looks like a total fucking like Batman
Badass.
style badass.
Yeah.
She cruises to a place that we will later learn is called Nixonville. She kicks in the door of a trailer, which is barely a door, that's like boarded up.
Yeah,
all
it's
from being
like-
kicked in multiple times.
3 2x4s, if that. And also, her car is like a 1987 Malibu or something.
Totally, it's like a fucking cougar.
It's so good. Only it's all blacked out. It's great. And she like punches some guy, and then it goes to the next scene. Oh,
Yeah.
she goes through She's driving through a parking garage, parks, goes to an elevator guarded by cops, gets in the elevator. Where's she go? To this meeting with, it's like a stadium full of cops watching the TV, and it's this like I don't want to say but it kind of like an anonymous style video, but it's the 7th Calgary saying they got big plans.
Right, and they're also claiming responsibility for shooting that cop.
Right.
And they have this whole TikTok chant. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Jed's like, hey, guess what? You guys get guns now.
Right. He's like, well, 7th Cavalry were quiet for 7 years and now they're back.
Yeah.
And now, so they have to have, the rules are a majority of the people on the police force have to believe that their lives are in imminent danger to have a 24-hour release of firearms. Panda is like the only person who's like, nah, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's not do
Everybody
that.
hates Panda.
Everybody hates
Fucking
Panda.
Panda. He's
Yeah.
got like a panda mascot mask on, but only from like the nose up. I love it. It's so good.
Right. He's got like you know, some heavy 5 o'clock shadow beard action.
Yeah. And it's fucking filthy. Love
right.
it.
He looks gross. Like the mask itself looks like it's been dragged through the mud.
Yeah, yeah.
Like maybe he's had his ass kicked 20 times by his fellow officers. I'm not really sure. And then what he's wearing also is like the clothes of failure to me, which is like a short sleeve button down shirt with a tie.
Yeah.
And nothing says like your life did not turn out well to me more than that.
Yeah.
Like that.
What is it with that outfit that is just screams, I'm not happy with my life?
I don't know. It's like I have to wear
Yeah.
this corporate garb, and
But I'm gonna be comfortable.
Right.
I'm not gonna be hot in this shit. I'm at least gonna boy.
I mean, like maybe like I just have very fucking narrow ways of seeing things, but I think that a long sleeve button down shirt rolled up doesn't look bad at all, and a short sleeve button down shirt looks like worn with a tie.
Oh, it looks like you've given up on life when you wear that.
It's tragedy.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Anyway,
all right.
That's just me. So anyway,
no, it's not just you.
They openly vote, and Panda buzzes out the guns, and everyone's like, "Fuck you, Panda." You know, Looking Glass and Red Scare are like, "Yes, definitely, we need the guns." Panda still objects, and Judd, who's up at the lectern, says, "Well, it's my funeral."
Oh. Whoop. We get to Judd's office, and Angel Abar, Sister Knight, is at his desk drinking coffee.
I know, and I think it's out of an owl mug.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's a little nod to Night Owl and Night Owl 2.
That's right. And she's like, bro, why didn't you tell me sooner about that cop that got shot a whole bunch of times? Because I didn't go to Black, Oklahoma? What's up, bro?
Right. He's like, because like she claims that the sitter bailed. Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's why you couldn't go to Black, Oklahoma? And she's like, hey, you don't get to say that. But it's like a fun moment.
Yeah.
She's not calling him a racist. She's being like tongue-in-cheek. And yeah, so the sitter bailed.
He's
anyway.
Like, are you gonna tell me I'm overreacting?
And she's like, there's a guy in my trunk.
So no, I'm not. Absolutely not.
Right, so...
And he's like, why? Why did you do that? And she's like, well, I knew you were going to do this, so I just got to jump on it.
I love how in sync these two are.
I know.
Like,
great.
She really took initiative.
She's a real go-getter, a self-starter, if you will.
So they're like, all right, put him in the pod. And the
Are you sure
pod,
he's a white supremacist, though? I got a nose for it. And this guy
yeah.
smells like bleach.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun
Yeah.
cop talk.
Yeah. So now he's in the pod. He's chained to a chair, the floor, or something.
Okay,
Pod is so cool.
so the pod, so we're like in a giant warehouse space, but in the middle of it is this like little airstream type thing. And inside that airstream, there's like super duper video screens everywhere, and Looking Glass, who has a reflective face mask over his face, conducts the interview,
That's right.
or the interrogation rather.
Yeah. And before he gets started, he turns on those video screens and it starts showing patriotic, folksy images, videos, Mount Rushmore with Nixon, the flag waving, vets, and then it gets weird and he's
There's like,
asking
I mean, it goes all over the place. There's Harriet
Yeah.
Tubman. There's the
Yeah.
Confederate flag.
Yeah, it is all over the place, but it's America centric.
Right. But so like the interrogation is like immersive video images
Yeah.
and Nine Inch Nails playing underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And so Looking Glass continually asks the same questions, but he's really just looking for how the guy responds to the video images and like where his eyes dilate or don't dilate. And that just seems like a trick of light to me.
Oh,
Like that-
yeah.
Like that doesn't actually seem like a good way to measure anything, like as far as like, lie detector tests are notoriously unreliable
Wrong.
in our world. So this is their version of a lie detector test. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, it sounds like bullshit because it's light is shining on him to make the video. So yeah, I agree. Anyway,
But anyway, your eyes would contract under bright lights, not dilate. Dilate in the dark. He keeps asking him, one, are you a member of the white supremacist group, the 7th Cavalry? Like, do you believe in transdimensional attacks, or do you think that they are hoaxes that are perpetrated by the government? So that's like a big,
Right.
7th Cavalry belief that it's a hoax perpetrated by the government. Little do they know how close they were.
ooh,
Um,
he ends it. I mean, I don't know what else he asks. He asks a lot of stuff like that, but he ends it with multiple times asking the same question over and over and over, which is, are you a member of, or do you associate with members of white supremacist group known as the 7th Cavalry?
The guy denies it to the end, but when Looking Glass comes out, he says he knows. The eyes dilated on all of the Rorschachs. So I guess there's some that are supposed to cue people that are like followers of the Rorschach journal.
All right.
Yeah. And then all the cops remask. Sister Knight is walking the guy out and apologizes and then shoves him into a room
And
and
beats
beats
the
the
hell
shit out of him.
for answers.
Yeah, and then you see blood coming out from under the floor because, like, you don't actually see.
No.
Yeah, you don't see the violence. It's not on screen. And he tells her cattle ranch. And then we cut to that night. The
Everyone's
cops.
sneaking up in the cattle field.
Yeah, there are a bunch of cows out there.
Uh,
And you
Crockett's watching from his base thermal cameras at the actual house. He's telling them what's in there, what's going on, and they're just sneaking. They're going to do a sneak attack, but some alarms go off in the little trailer.
Right, but before that, you see that
Oh.
they are taking watches apart and dumping the batteries into a bucket.
That's right.
And the alarm goes off, lights go on, everybody gets in the 7th Cavalry group, they get distributed pills.
Right, and they've all got the Rorschach mask, of course.
Yeah. So
We
there's a big
go
firefight. Oh.
outside
Mm-hmm.
and there's a mounted machine gun on the back of a truck, and some dudes are like, let's get this party started. They turn on floodlights onto the cow field, and that's when the firefight starts because they just start spraying the field with that machine gun. And
Tearing up cows more than
oh my
anything.
God, the cows were just exploding with bullets. It was disgusting.
We find out that they have a plane.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
Sister Knight rushes in and has a big fight with one guy, and he takes off his mask and shows her that he's got a pill, and then he bites down on it, and like she's trying to get it out of his mouth, but it's too late. The guy's already dead.
Yeah.
And then outside, the plane takes off, and uh-oh, it looks like the cops have a flying vehicle of their own.
They've got an Archie.
Yeah, as a shout out to the technology of Night Owl from
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. This is what they're operating. I don't know if like every police department has it or what the deal is, but they're flying in an Archie and it fucking rules.
Yeah. They catch up with the plane and they fire blast it.
Yeah, they shoot fire, like literal,
They
just like a
flamethrow it.
flamethrower that goes super far from.
And it fucking explodes. That plane is gone. It's disintegrated.
Yeah, but Archie crashes too.
Yeah, that was Sonny's fault. But they're fine. They're fine. They're fine.
Right. Yeah, Sister Knight helps pull them out of the wreckage, and they come out. They're fine. It's him and a woman that was the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they come out, Don Johnson is like, "Are you okay?" And then they just laugh it all off.
Ah, you guys.
And then that moment dissolves into space, which dissolves to green fields and a castle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some dude on a horse.
Jeremy's iron.
Jeremy's iron.
Sometimes I worry that too much of my language is made up of Simpsons quotes, but right now it's not that time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you have the star of Dead Ringers and Lolita, which I never saw,
Mm-mm.
and so many others. He is welcomed back to the manor house.
By Mr. Phillip. He is now naked and typing, and Mrs. Crickshanks or Miss Crickshanks is massaging his thigh, which is
Right.
very raw because he did a lot of writing yesterday.
Right. We think at first that like,
What do
She's-
we think? What do we think at first, Josh?
well, because of the way the
What?
camera pulls out to reveal her on her knees and he's naked, seated,
Uh-huh.
we are perhaps led to believe that there's something more intimate happening, but in fact, no. She's just massaging his raw riding thighs.
Mm-hmm. Sex robot. So they're like, "Hey, you want to get dressed or something?" Or
It's your anniversary.
what?
We made you a
Hey,
cake.
That's so nice. We made it out of the honeycomb that you gave us.
Here, would you like to cut it? And the butler presents him a horseshoe.
Mhm.
So something's not right here.
Yeah, that's right. Something is not. And he just takes a single bite out of this giant cake and it's like, "That's great. Thanks, guys." And he's delivered a little tiny package by Mr. Phillips, wrapped in fur. He unwraps it, like undoes the twine, and it's a pocket watch, and he fucking loves it.
Yeah, the butler reassembled it. It was very difficult. All fiddly bits. And they are told that he is writing a play. It's a tragedy called The Watchmaker's Son. And I don't know if this is clear in the movie, but in the comic, Dr. Manhattan is the son of a watchmaker.
Oh, wait. Oh, I think I just got characters confused. But yeah, they do mention that in the movie. Mm, and guess what? He wants those guys to star in his play.
How nice.
They're going to save the rec center. Come on.
So there's joy there that like we quickly cut to Joy and they're toasting back home in Oklahoma.
Hooray.
There's a big family meal with Sister Knight and family and Judd Crawford and family. So everybody's there.
Having a blast.
Yeah, totally. Don Johnson and his wife did not bring kids, if they have any. But Angela and Cal and their kids are there.
Full house.
Yeah.
Just like that show. And Don Johnson's like, hey, I'm going to go get some wine. And he goes and gets some wine and some Coke. And then he comes back and he's like, what's going on? What are you guys talking about? This is great. I'm having the most fun ever. Let's do the stuff that I want to do. Hey, who's that? Because he's super coked up. It wasn't really like that. But yeah, Angela's like, and he's
right,
like,
she quietly signals him that he's got cocaine coming out of his nose.
But also that was a cartoonish amount of cocaine around his nose. It was like, did you put your whole face in that fucking pile of cocaine, dude? What are you doing? Do you not know how to do cocaine? You're a cop. Of course you do.
Right. Like, isn't that like day one?
Yeah. Basic training. Come on. So his wife is like, he loved Oklahoma because this whole thing, like Angela didn't tell her husband that they had plans to see Oklahoma.
Right. Like the sitter never bailed because there was no sitter because she never once had any intention of going to see that play. She didn't even tell her husband that they were invited to it.
I wouldn't either. Fuck that.
That's like such a pro move, except that she's completely busted.
Yeah. What? Oh, you said you don't like musicals. It's fine. So Don Johnson's wife is like, it's fine. He's just mad because he was jealous. He played a part in that play in high school.
He played Curly in high school. And everyone's like, come on, Uncle Judd, sing for us. And he gets up and he bursts into song and he serenades the kids and he hugs Cal and he hugs Angela and his wife, and then he kisses at the end and everyone applauds.
Delightful. However, right when he starts to hug Cal is when the clock starts to tick.
Oh, tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
At the very end, during applause, we have an overhead shot of the table looking straight down
circle
through the circular light fixture on the circular table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's the ticking clock continues from that scene to the next scene, which is like they're saying their goodbyes out front.
And Angela's telling Judd about all the watch batteries in the duffel bag that the guys in the plane had.
They were made out of synthetic lithium. It's the old kind that you can't get anymore because they're extra dangerous.
They cause cancer, possibly.
Or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, I'm not even sure what, like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, aren't you worried? He's like, yes.
Never not. Everything sucks and I hate it.
And his wife's like, what are you talking about? Just the end of the world. Tick tock. Big wink. And he's out. And then the clock is ticking, is like the big voiceover for the TV show American Hero Story.
Right, we get a little promo for that,
which is on in the background at the Crawford home.
Mm-hmm. While he's on the phone with the governor.
Yeah, explaining the situation. Then he gets another call.
Uh, it's the hospital.
Yeah.
Guess what? Charlie's awake. You know what? I'm going to go visit Charlie. I'm going to get in my dress uniform. It's going to be great.
Right.
I'll see you later.
His wife tells him to, like, don't drive alone, like, because she saw him doing coke. And he's like, yeah, no problem. He gets dressed into his uniform. We see, I think, like an old picture of his grandfather or something, like,
Yeah.
as he's getting dressed. Some old guy with a cop uniform. And you see him driving alone at dawn. He leaves the house. He has armed police guards that I guess are just stationed there all the time because he's the only guy with no mask.
Yeah, for sure.
So he gets extra tight security, and anyway, he goes alone. His tires are blown out.
Huh.
He gets out.
Weird.
There's a booby trap on the road. There's like the spiked thing across the street.
Yeah, whatever that thing's called. It just blew out his tires. And a huge floodlight blinds him.
Yeah, bright and flashing. And then we cut to...
Fucking.
Fucking!
We cut to what Josh was watching right before I talked to him. Right?
Yeah, let me just watch this scene again.
Phone's ringing. And Cal's like, we should probably get that's going to wake up the kids. She's like, fine.
She's like, I'm close.
But then she's like, fine.
Yeah, so the phone interrupts their sex. It's coitus interruptus. And she angrily answers the phone.
I mean,
the way only someone truly pulled away from something that they did not want to be pulled away from would do.
And so close.
Is this Angela Abar? Yes. Is your father Marcus Abar? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on here? The voice at the end of the line says, go to the oak tree out at Roland Hill and don't wear a mask. I fucking know who you are anyway.
Oh.
So like in a super fucking badass moment.
Yeah.
She grabs two stashed guns, like one shotgun that's behind the headboard of the bed and a handgun that's like inside the chimney.
Yeah. Hands the handgun to Cal. If anyone gets near the porch that is not me, shoot them immediately before they have a chance to get here. I'll be back for dinner or whatever she says. I don't know.
Yeah, she drives out to the oak tree and then there's a bright light.
Turn that light off or I will shoot.
Yeah, she points the gun and says that.
Light turns off. It's the old man from outside the bakery.
In a wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
next to the oak tree and hanging from it is Judd Crawford, very much dead.
Very much.
Oh, by the way, the old man is holding something.
What's that?
It's a note.
Oh, really? What's it say?
Watch over this boy.
So does that make that old man like 100 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that little boy that barely escaped the exploding race massacre on Black Wall Street is now this old man in a wheelchair sitting next to a hanging Judd Crawford, who's missing one shoe, and his badge is on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and the camera slowly moves into that badge, and there's just a little blood spatter a la the original smiley face from the comedian, and the song swells, and it's like a song from Oklahoma about Judd being dead.
Is it from Oklahoma?
Yeah, and so
I had no idea.
The song is called like Judd is Dead or something, and that song is the title, like the lyrics are, it's summer and we're running out of ice.
If I knew anything about Oklahoma, I'd probably be like, oh, Judd's dead by the end of the episode. Like,
right.
What?
Totally. I don't have that pre-existing
I had no
knowledge. What'd you think of this episode, my friend?
It's really good.
Are you into the show?
I am very into the show. I have many questions that I'm not going to ask because I don't want you to answer them.
Okay.
Um, yeah, lots. Knowing that the comic book, there were no like superpowers aside from Dr. Manhattan
Mm-hmm.
raises so many more questions, but I'm
Okay, so
excited
like in
to.
the original comic,
Mhm.
there are sort of two waves of masked vigilante hero characters. There's
Mhm.
the Golden Age ones that are referred to, the Minutemen,
Right.
that exist before the Watchmen. The Watchmen are sort of the Silver Age ones,
Mhm.
um, who are in the movie. They're characterized as their failures are characterized in a way that is about sort of like some very heteronormative ideas about masculinity or like what it means to be like a success or failure or whatever. And in the comic, that's not it at all. Like they're regular people who tried to do something and you know, their failures exist sort of like for other reasons. Like, and also their interests in becoming these other characters are for a wide range of reasons. Some of them, it's like a sex kink.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, yeah, they touched on that a little bit on in the movie, but they didn't really like the reason it all like dissolved the Minutemen anyway. No, for both. It was like poor victim vigilantes. They were trying their best and the law was against them or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, there are different ways of telling the same story, right? So, like,
Mm,
yeah. Um,
I okay, I did not realize it was a DC joint or a Zack Snyder joint.
yeah.
Uh,
I know. All, like, here's the thing. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of either of those particular things, but, like, I don't want to be
to me,
annoying about that at all.
no, 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 not at all. But it also it reeks of DC seeing a popular thing and seeing we'll buy the rights to this so we can make more money off of it.
But they owned it to begin with.
I I had no idea. That's what it felt like to me because it also felt like this movie, knowing nothing about the comic books, seemed like a parody of like Superman and Batman and everything else. And it's like,
It was, but in a different way as the original, and then it became a different type of parody
uh,
as a film because it's like in the comic book, it's like they deconstructed the hero myth
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
in every possible, like not every possible, but like
Yeah,
a number of ways, a number of angles, and in the movie, like they're just sort of making fun of different movie adaptations, but also reveling in them in a way that like the comic absolutely never would.
right.
Um, Also, sort of as a side note, back a historical aspect of this, uh, DC had come into owning some old characters from Charlton Comics from the 40s. And this is like a long lost, comic publisher who had, like, when Superman came out, everyone that had anything that they were publishing at all were like, oh my God, that's like the most important thing that's ever happened. Every kid in the world is buying that.
Yeah.
We need our own version of that. So there were like a million reproductions of Superman, and some of them were like just
Bad
great
knockoffs.
original things, and some of
Okay.
them were total rip-offs and
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it was literally just a rush to get something out because
Oh,
like
yeah.
you could chase this fad. So there's a long gone comic house called Charlton Comics that had characters. They actually have different names than the characters from this that DC wanted Alan Moore to write new stuff for, and he was like, well, rather than like being mired by like whatever their like original continuity was, I'm just going to use that as a touchstone. And then he went like completely off base and made something that was like so far afield that
it's like the fact stories in Beyond Belief.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, anyway, like it's
It definitely has that feel to it. It definitely has the feel of like, I'm gonna take aspects of this, but not a lot of them. Maybe just the look, maybe just the feel of this character, and make it way more dark, fun. I don't know.
right, but then giving, but like in both the movie and the comic, you've got Dr. Manhattan who genuinely has superpowers. He's not sane. He's no longer even human.
Right.
He's basically a god, but he's like brain damaged also. All of these people live by a code of a kind. Anyway, whatever. There are other aspects of the original stuff that will like come into play throughout this season, and it's only one season. And
I thought I saw something that there was going to be a second season, but I don't know if it was a bullshit article or not.
no, originally it was supposed to be an ongoing show, and then Damon Lindelof, who was the showrunner and writer and everything on this, said he wasn't going to continue for future seasons, and HBO said, well, we're not going to do it without him. So it just became the one season. So I don't know if that is like for all time, but that's what they said at the time.
Does it work as a one-off season, do you think? Or does it end on like a cliffhanger?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I mean, you can say if it's a cliffhanger or not without saying what it is.
Can I? I don't know.
You're such a dick. Go watch some porn, Josh.
As always. Just play that outro music.
Oh, okay. Hold on. It's right around